Have I muted myself? Was I muted that whole time? I better not have been. Let me know if you hear me now and if you heard anything. So sad she does the whole video and no sound. I'm very interested to hear about this new product. Okay, let me just back up a little bit here. I seem to have had a technical glitch. I don't know. I never have had to turn the mute off. So sorry about that, guys. Mary, George, Julie, and Cassandra. George, Julie. You guys let me know if you're hearing me now. If somebody could make a comment. As I said, I had to reboot everything just before I went live, and maybe that was on. Okay, so very briefly, in case you missed it, the main benefit I want you to think about PEMF as doing is think of it as recharging your cellular battery. It is not EMFs. EMFs are very different frequencies, your Bluetooths, your phones, your internets. I have had the question, what are the EMF levels on my PEMF? Anything electrical being plugged into a power source is going to emit EMFs. EMFs is where the caution comes in, is the cumulative effect and the duration of exposure. So if you're on your phone and your earbuds and your wireless laptop and your router and your booster, and you're doing this 8 to 12 hours a day, it's the cumulative multiple effects. I use PEMF at the end of the day for my hamstring tension, as I was just going off on. But I use it to deplete and restore my charge at the end of the day. Many of you may do grounding for a similar reason. You can do both. You can combine both. But Lifepro's PEMF is a very passive treatment. For those of you that may have missed my ramble earlier, somebody let me know if you're hearing me okay on that end. PEMF is as old as infrared technology, but I think because it's becoming more available in the home environment, many of you may just be hearing about it for the first time. PEMF is approved, and recently, within the last couple of weeks, was approved as a brain cancer treatment by the FDA. It's been used for cancer treatment for decades in Europe. Not many, there's medical grade, much higher powered gauze units. The first one I mentioned, if you missed it, that I saw about 15, 20 years ago was a device called a magnetron that is it looks like a Stargate, and you sit inside of this magnetic field. A lot of this is based on Tesla energy technology. The mats are stuffed with what's called tourmaline crystals. The mats offer both infrared and PEMF. PEMF in Canada has been approved by Health Canada for use since 1960. So it's been out a really, really long time, guys. And if you're dealing with chronic inflammation, that would be the top benefit that I think that you would obtain from using PEMF is reducing inflammation. It also has overlap benefits. So it gives you increased circulation, increased lymphatic movement. If you are trying to accelerate bone density, bone fractures, that's where a lot of the FDA approvals for bone healing and bone massetesis is through PEMF. Been out a really, really long time. Frequency guidelines, depending on what you're trying to do. The lower end is a better starting point with this product. And it is one of those, you can set it and forget it. So if you're in a lot of chronic pain, it will absolutely help reduce the pain. Whereas perhaps the physical movement of a vibration plate is not something you're quite ready for. This is a really good bridge the gap or complementary treatment. I like to use this as a recovery tool and to deplete my charge that I've accumulated from being around all this wireless crap all day long. So I just want to demonstrate the controller here again. So on the controller, you have two options. You have time, and on the top right is your infrared temperature. You can see that the mat is warming up, but maybe I want to combine pulse electromagnetic field therapy with this. So pulse electromagnetic field therapy, you can select your frequency. It's on this mat and the larger full-size mat, it is a preset time of 20 minutes whenever you hit the PEMF button. So if you hit the PEMF button right at the beginning of your infrared session, it will automatically turn off within 20 minutes. If what I like to do is I run about 30 minutes on my infrared and I get a bit of a sweat going on. And then I hit, you see this little pulse button here? You hit the pulse and you'll see I've got it preset for 7 hertz. No sound yet. What is going on with YouTube today? My microphone has a big light on. Hang on, so strange. I'm very sorry, guys. Yeti's on. Tell me if you feel that. Are you hearing me now? And if you are, I'm going to start all over again because it's not fair. You've been seeing me walk around like Charlie Chaplin in a silent film or something. Probably dating myself with some of you. Not everybody knows who Charlie Chaplin is. Isn't that strange? Okay, well, apparently I haven't had any sound. What is Restream doing to me? Yeti stereo. Nothing. Well, let's try this. Oh, you can hear me. Hang on. Okay. How about now? What a professional I am. If you knew how much gear I had set up that you don't see, it's amazing that I get this running at all some days. I'm reading captions and no sound yet. I don't know if it's George or Julie, so I keep calling you George Julie. Let me know if you're hearing. Stephanie said she can hear me. Can you still hear me, Stephanie? No, you can't. How about you, Stephanie? Can you hear me? Okay, you know what? One more test if you'll be patient with me, George Julie. Okay, so Stephanie was hearing me. Make sure it's not something on your end, which I'm sure you have, George Julie. I've just changed back to my basic computer microphone. So if someone can tell me if they still hear me, I will resume. Ever so sorry. No sound, and others said that too. Stephanie, are you hearing me? So sorry to pick on you. Okay, so Stephanie says that she can hear me. I've just changed back to my computer microphone. So I'm going to restart. Sorry about my ramblings. I'm going to restart this. So, but I'll do the shorter version. So PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, different than EMFs, electromagnetic fields. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. The sound quality won't maybe be as good, but I talk pretty darn loud anyways. And now I'm tongue-tied. So thank you, Julie and Stephanie, for confirming. I don't have the best eyesight. I'm 53 this year. So I need to come in and check. And I didn't do my sound check before this. That's how I screwed myself up. Okay, so PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, is as old as infrared saunas. Health approved by Health Canada in 1960. Recently this month, approved by the FDA for treatment of brain cancer. Very common as for lots of different cancer treatments in Europe. And this combined the infrared or the Lifepro mats. So the mat this size is the mini. This is the full-sized InfraZen. This is about the same size as a single camp cot, which I've had it set up on in past sessions. These contain terlamine crystals, and they offer 2 therapies in these devices. These offer infrared heat and pulsed electromagnetic field. Pulsed electromagnetic field, as I was mentioning earlier when you couldn't hear what I was saying, if you are dealing with severe pain, severe inflammation, PEMF is very, very good at correcting and helping the cells perform more optimally. It gives them energy to help battle the inflammation. So sometimes, there's lots of tools that can help with inflammation, but sometimes the physical movement of a vibration plate, maybe you need something kinder, a more passive. So pulse electromagnetic field therapy has a different variety of frequencies. If you're just starting out on this and you want to do some research, you'll see there is quite a bit of information on the internet. Keep in mind when you're looking on the internet, it's never an absolute thing. Anything that you see is a positive indication. Contraindications are always an indication to seek further clarity. If you are dealing with any metal implants, probably the first question I get about contraindications, because it's a magnetic field. But Lifepro's home devices are not going to disrupt any of your hardware. No pins, no screws. It's completely fine to use with metal implants. One exception: if you do happen to have plates in the face, the head, we don't recommend using directly on that area. Not that there's been any evidence or cause for harm. It's just being precautionary. And the other two, there are only three. The second one is pregnancy. If you are pregnant, I would prefer you discuss first with your doctor whether this is suitable or not. There has been not any research for the most part on pulse electromagnetic fields on pregnant mothers, because nobody really wants to do that kind of research, just to be honest with you. So better safe than sorry. If you are new to pulse electromagnetic field therapy and you have recently become pregnant, please discuss suitability first with your care provider. And these are low energy devices. These are not going to, like I say, hamper any metals. The last exception is if you are dealing with a pacemaker. So if you do have a pacemaker, for the most part, I don't recommend, because it is an electrical device, I don't want to run the risk of it interfering with your pacemaker. That being said, it really is a discussion, again, to be had with your doctor. It really depends on the type of pacemaker, where it's implanted, those types of things. Sometimes as a woman, it's a little bit further up into the arm versus on the chest. So every situation is unique. Every body is unique. But pregnancy, metal implants in the head only, and if you are wearing a pacemaker. So just to be cautious on those ones. I had a question actually yesterday morning from a pregnant lady that's been using her pulse electromagnetic field mat for quite some time. She is now pregnant and her doctor is supporting her use, but it's only on the legs. So she's just putting it kind of from just behind the knee to the calves, which is where the varicose issues are becoming a concern, and the swelling at the end of the day for anyone who's been pregnant. So again, that's an example of, maybe it's not a no, you can't use. Like I always talk about with vibration plates, maybe it's a modify how you use. So something to discuss with your doctor, someone that's more intimate with your overall health situation. So on the mats, I really want to talk about the programmability, because I've been getting questions about how do I set it for this and how do I combine it with that. And the products are slightly different. I'm talking about the mats first. I'll get to the InfraTone Belt next. I featured that as last week as part of my red light belt discussion. And it's kind of a crossover because it's got red lights, but it's also got infrared and pulse electromagnetic fields. So it's kind of a unique product that I'll talk about lastly. So the controllers for the mini mats and the large mat are identical. So how you program them are exactly the same. You start by hitting the power button and it'll illuminate the display. And on the top, you've got your time, which you can set in increments, reduce. Okay. Oops. Oh, I hit it too fast. You can reduce the time, increase the time. Okay. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I hit the power button because I'm trying to do this backwards. Okay. So I'm going to turn on again. So this is preset for 60. Over to the right, you see this little thermometer. You hit that, and that starts my infrared. So my infrared I've got set at 165. Maybe I want to reduce it. See how it's flashing? And then you can decide whether you want to increase it, decrease it. Oh, I hit the power button again. So that's to get the infrared going. And you can, if you're using infrared now, I think you can go as little as 5 minutes, as much as 60 on this. So in the bottom two portions, you'll see there's a little, it looks like an electrical pulse, which corresponds with this button here. So on this mat, on the InfraZen mat, and also on the bat that comes with the lay down sauna model, it is exactly the same as this, except it has red light therapy also included in it. So to activate PEMF on these, it is a default session of 20 minutes. So you can start you can add PEMF to your existing infrared sauna treatment at any time. So I'll show you how to do that. So if I want to add PEMF at the same time as I'm doing infrared, I hit this button and you'll see how the frequency comes up there. Okay, that's my end of day frequency. Maybe you wanted to change the frequency. You can increase it, decrease it. Really depends on what you're trying to do. Okay, so what'll happen is you've got this set for a 60-minute sauna session. It's now running pulse electromagnetic field at 8 hertz. How do I know it's 8 hertz? Hang on. You hear that? All of Lifepro's PEMF products come with this, looks like a little sealed pill bottle with a little metal bead in it. And what this will do, can you hear that? That's how you know it's working. If I increase the frequency, see how it starts going faster? That's 30. If I decrease it, one. Okay. So that's how, if you're concerned, it's a passive treatment, and the only thing that you're going to feel if you have any, particularly inflamed areas, any fractures, any areas where you may have deficiencies, in those areas where you have metal, maybe a screw or a hip implant, the tissue surrounding it is usually compromised to a degree. There's usually some scar tissue and some nerve damage. So you may feel a little bit of a pins and needles in certain areas as this gets started, but that's the extent of what you're going to feel. And again, it's awesome for inflammation. So and just recharging your cellular battery. Think of it that way. So what if I wanted to do just PEMF and I don't want to do infrared? Okay, so same thing. You turn the power on. Oh, power. Okay, you select your time. And instead of going over to the infrared, you just right away go to your pulsed electromagnetic field. Now, there is a bit of feedback on this. The display disappears on this. But I've already told you it automatically goes for 20 minutes, but the timer's dropped off. How do I know that it's running? Oh, I should turn it up. I've got it on 1 still. Okay, go ahead. Can you hear that? Yeah. Okay. So maybe you're hot and you're going through menopause flashes like me, but you still want to do your PEMF. As I said earlier, I'm not sure if it got cut off or not, but I like using PEMF to declutter around from all the electric crap that I've been around all day. A lot of you may use grounding sheets, grounding mats for the same reason. I like using PEMF as part of that. Okay, so that's how you know it's doing that. And so I just want to show you one more time. So again, if you want to turn it on, we hit the power, select your time. I want to run infrared. That's going. Now, at any time when you hit this little pulse button, that's going to activate the PEMF function. So if you decided at the beginning or halfway through, whenever it is, the minute you hit this, you've got 20 minutes included on PEMF. If you wanted to do a longer PEMF session, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but just hit the power button, start over again, hit PEMF, okay, and you're going again. You can also add your infrared back in if you wanted to combine that as well, okay? And that, as I said, is how the mats both work. So the large size is like I say, about 75 by 22 inches, I think. This is going to cover, if you're laying on it, it goes just below my knees to under my neck, but you can see by the big crease in it, my preferred way to use it. I use it seated on my sofa and finish up my messages and so forth. So the other product that I don't have here on camera, with the dome sauna, the mat that is included with that, super awesome value on that dome sauna. It is exactly the same construction, even looks exactly the same, except it has red lights built into that mat. So let's go to the next product, which looks more similar to that. I'm just going to turn this off. I'm going to bring that back. So let's get to the InfraTone. Now, so the InfraTone I discussed in last week's demonstration when I went over the red light belts. It comes with a groovy little carrying case, so you can advertise for Joel and everybody else. But this one is probably, this came out after the mats. So Joel got some feedback from you guys, and the controller is obviously on this one a little bit different because it has 3 therapies. So the InfraTone Belt, okay, whoops. It has an extender belt for those of you already asking. Now, I've been known to sit on this thing on the couch as well, but there's a couple of different ways you can, if you want to do the back for my guys that have those low back issues, you know, maybe you bring it down around the hips a little bit more, okay? So I bring it and just sort of cross it down. My favorite way to use this belt, I get a little on the mat, but my big issue outside of my hamstrings is my shoulder, because I'm always sitting at a desk that's not the right height. So for your shoulder, you see I've kind of got it draped. I bring it down here and strap it across that way for shoulder, okay? If I want to maybe do more specifically both shoulders, you can do it this way too, okay? So this one, you know, if you find you're in an office situation, you know, like 9 hours a day, or perhaps you travel lots, the mats are awesome, but this is a little bit more on the portable side. The addition on this one, you can see the diodes. So this also offers infrared. So this has, red light. This has infrared. It has pulse electromagnetic field therapy and red light therapy. So let's hook this puppy up and I'll show you how the controller works. Now the attachment end is very similar. You can see there's little tabs on the side. It only goes in one way. There's little bumps that line up. If you have to force it at all, guys, you're going the wrong way. So just clips in like that. There's a pretty generous lead on this. Thank you, Joel, for thinking about that. Okay. So the controller on this one is a little more digitally looking, and there's a couple of different things I want to point out as far as how the therapies work on this. So we're going to turn it on. You can see my previous session was set at 140 on infrared and for 50 minutes. So that's what that's telling me. Maybe I want to decrease the temperature. So infrared is always on this belt. Okay. So now it's set and it's warming up because it's kind of chilly right now. I've got it set for 50 minutes. It's at 66. It will warm up here eventually. See, it jumped to 68. So the other functions that you have on this, so this is an infrared belt with optional PEMF, optional red light, or you can combine all three. So infrared's on. Maybe I want to add pulse electromagnetic field. So as soon as I hit the pulse electromagnetic field button, okay, you got a default time of 20 minutes, like I said, and it shows your frequency. But what if I want to adjust the frequency? So again, like the other mat, you hit that pulse button and you can drop or increase your frequency, okay? And if you leave it for a second, it'll go back to its regular time. What if I wanted to add red light? See the little red light? Little bit more universal. Okay. Yes, 50 minutes. Any of these will go 60 minutes if you want to. That's why I love them the most. Okay. So now, look at this right. Oh, we got red light action. See? Red lights are on now. Okay. At any time during, so just to read this, because there's a little bit of difference between this and the mats. So think of this more as an infrared belt with optional PEMF and optional red light. These are mats that you can do infrared or PEMF or combine two, okay? So the basic always running therapy on this is infrared. Well, what if I don't want it to be so hot? I just want to enjoy the red light and the pulse electromagnetic field. Well, go back into your basic time and reduce the temperature on your infrared. If it's getting too hot, turn it right down. Then you can get back to your red light and your pulse electromagnetic field enjoyment. So again, when you activate PEMF on this, it's an automatic 20-minute run time unless you reduce it. Red light will be whatever if you want to leave it on for your whole session, that's completely fine. What I find with the red lights, the diodes on these are larger than maybe the other belts. I'm a heat junkie. So I like the effect of the additional heat that the lights get. But I do find if I'm going bare skin versus over clothing, it gets a little bit too warm. So I usually turn my red lights off about 20 minutes or half hour in, or just wear a light cotton t-shirt or something because I just think they get warm. Okay. So I just want to go over that one more time. Okay. So power, right? And while 50 minutes, you can go all the way up. Whoops. See how if you keep hitting the time button, it's going to bring. So yes, you can go max of 60 on this. This is our current infrared temperature. This is adding pulse electromagnetic field at a frequency of 15 for 20 minutes. If I want to add red light's there. Ta-da! This is pretty cool. I could, I've got enough cord. I can walk around my kitchen, so this is when I'm lazy and stagnant, and this I've really been enjoying. Just because it's a different thing. There's never one perfect product for every problem, every body part. But if you have been considering these, and maybe it's a price point thing, this is a little bit more of a modest price point as far as getting into PEMF with Lifepro. And it also gives you your red light and infrared. So it's 3 therapies in one belt. I'm going to turn this off. Detach. Perfect. I just want to show you again. So they're similar, but the 2 controllers are slightly different. So if you're like me and you have the InfraTone and the mats, you can't interconnect. These are the same connections. I've used them on both, but this is unique to the belt. So that one's got to stay with the belt. And then if you have, if you were looking at the dome sauna is very similar to the belt. It's got the red diodes on the top shroud, but the mat looks exactly like this, but it's going to have those larger red light diodes throughout as well. And as I said, each of them come for those of you that are asking, this is so you can see that the pulse electromagnetic field is activated. Okay. Oh, Julie, I'm glad we've gone from wow to I can't hear you. So I'm going to come a little closer to the camera now. And I would like to see if you guys have any questions about these. Sometimes as these come out, it's not until I fiddle around with them for a little while till I figure out some of the nuances. And for those of you that have already gotten these products that may have had questions as to how they work, how they don't work, I hope I filled in some blanks for you guys today. So, and thank you for your patience with, I don't know what I've never even seen that sound off button come up before. So I did have to reboot just before things started here. So I apologize for making this such a long session today. The first part not hearing me at all. So I've got George Julia, I've got Cassandra, I have Mary, I have Stephanie. Thank you so much for your help. And Judy, hello, nice to see you. Stephanie is out in the great part of Canada with me in the eastern side. Nice to see you here, Stephanie. Long time no see. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I said hello to everyone. I'm curious if any of you are using or familiar with PEMF now. If this is the first time that you've heard about it, I started the session a lot more eloquently than I did when I realized I had a sound issue. But probably the biggest thing that I've always known pulse electromagnetic field therapy for is for bone healing and bone recovery. My first experience with it was helping my mom with a broken foot on the top of her foot many years before I even knew who Lifepro was or possibly existed. I have a couple of different strengths of pulse electromagnetic field therapy. There is medical grade. There's also a medical price tag associated with that. But I'm very happy to see that Lifepro is entering the market and offering these. Many people would like to try out pulse electromagnetic field therapy for different reasons. As I said, I love it as a grounding tool. It's been FDA approved for brain cancer treatment. Many treatments associated with cancer in Europe that are using PEMF. PEMF is also widely used by NASA. What happens when you're in space at a zero gravity environment? Your bones deteriorate very quickly. So NASA probably has as much research on pulse electromagnetic field therapy as they do on vibration plates, which is thousands and thousands of studies. And I believe, as the vibration training specialist person, that pulse electromagnetic field and vibration therapy kind of are synonymous in many ways. Specifically, if you're, for all my osteo and all of those that are dealing, thank you for bringing that up, Judy. It will help on a very passive basis with osteoporosis, osteopenia, any of those diagnoses that you may be dealing with. Maybe it's just a hereditary thing and you're being proactive. So if for some of my clients that are completely immobile, obviously, ideally, I would love to get you bearing your own weight on a vibration plate, but that's not possible for everyone. And sometimes it's just not what you want to do. So this is a really great tool to consider, especially if you've got certain body parts that you're trying to target. But enhancing and complementing with your other Lifepro therapies, your exercises, your other activities, it's a great way to warm up, recover. And as I said, if you're dealing with inflammation of any kind, which can be the case sometimes with osteoporosis as well, there can be a lot of pain associated with these conditions. So yes, reduce the inflammation, manage the pain. And if you do have improvement, which you will, by using these products, please don't stop using them. Keep going. Use them as a maintenance piece. Sometimes when things improve and get better, we stop and put it on the shelf because we figure, ooh, it's a miracle, I feel better. But keep the maintenance piece going as well. Out of all Lifepro's products, obviously I use a vibration plate pretty much every day, but I end every day on my InfraZen mat. It literally, it's how I ground and deplete from the accumulation of all this electronic stuff that were around during the day. So for those of you that are curious about, what are the differences between PEMF and EMF, it's in the frequencies, the very, very different frequencies. And there are lots of ways. If you are concerned about EMFs, this is the last thing you need to be concerned about. But there's meters, there's all kinds of different things out there. And sometimes we don't understand the numbers we're looking at on the screen. And is there an associated effect to them? As I said, these technologies are heavily studied by NASA. They have been approved by the Canadian government through Health Canada since 1960. And just as long with health, with the FDA, there's all kinds of countries around the world that certainly have adopted this technology. And a lot of times I think it's the passive nature, so if you are in a situation where you've digressed due to a condition or an injury or a surgery, it's a great recovery tool. The warmth of that infrared heat, you've got the surface healing with the red light, and then you've got the PEMF to recharge that cellular battery. So I hope that's been insightful for you today. I expect some questions on this one today. And again, I can't apologize enough for the sound hiccup at the beginning. Stephanie, I will send you some information on this. Absolutely. Stephanie, you could actually drive. There's a few places in your area I can probably get you touching and feeling this technology as well. But for those of you that are in the US, you do have access to Lifepro's products. In Canada, not all of these are available. That's why I mentioned that to Stephanie. But they are on Lifepro's site. They are also sold on Amazon, and there's a really good sale, 30% off right now with the Lifepro. So you may want to check and see where the better deal is. I will drop some links in the comments after if you have questions or you have something you'd like to ask me that you think about after the fact. Just tag me at Debby with a Y, and I will be absolutely sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I don't have all the answers, but I usually know where to find them. So please reach out on today's session or other past sessions. And again, make sure that you tag me at Debby with a Y. I will go back into the feed after the live today and be sure to link my past sessions. I showed you how to test the mats and give you some additional information on PEMF long before Joel pulled out this InfraTone Belt. So I really think it's kind of the awesome piece that was missing from the lineup, not only from a cost perspective, but a convenience perspective. So if you haven't checked out the InfraTone Belt, it's the newest, latest, and greatest. And everybody enjoyed today, I'm hoping. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you ever so much, George, Julie. And more so for your patience till I got this thing running. I also had, who else was here? Mary was here as well. Thank you for joining me, and Cassandra. So for the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you next week. I might be running, I think is it the long weekend next weekend? No, not quite. If it is a long weekend, it's getting into summer, and I'm finding not everyone is joining me this late on a Monday. For those of you who did join me, thank you. If you have any feedbacks on times or days that you would prefer, let me know as well in the comments. And if you're watching this on a recorded basis, let me know what you thought. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Have a great rest of your week. Don't work too hard.